Hey there, how you doing? Coach here outside of beautiful Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. You're watching Von Allen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. So subscribe now and join the empire. Von Allen Sports, let's go, baby.
This is Patriots linebacker, Super Bowl 49 champ, Darius Fleming, and you're watching Von Allen Sports, real and honest NFL analysis. Subscribe now. Join the empire. Von Allen Sports, let's go!
Von Allen Sports.
This is the man with the most badass name in sports, the Pharaoh, the Egyptian god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And on behalf of my man Von Allen, we want to thank you for your support. Let's fucking go.
Von Allen Sports.
That was outstanding on so many levels. Look at that torque.
Hey guys, surprise. So what's up? Yeah, so I wanted to just discuss some previews and stuff. What happened is that we were talking in the Legion chat last night, and Israel had said, I should probably, because we were talking about what we thought was going to happen and who was going to win and all this stuff, and he's like, why don't we just do a preview show? And I thought, this will give people something to listen to tonight. I didn't expect people to listen to it live. That many people know about it because I didn't announce it, right? So, but this is something that people could listen to maybe in the morning when they're getting ready for the games or something like that, or maybe sometime tonight. It just depends. So it's just something to have and basically have it on record, So the Patriots go on a big run here. It would be nice to have these kind of shows on record. Because we have those on record from when Tom Brady went on his Bucs run, and we did all these shows, and I can go back and watch them and see them, and it's very, very interesting. So, yeah, it's not a bad idea to do that, I don't think. So, yeah, I just quickly decorated this. I didn't really know what to put together for that. So, because we've been mainly doing shows just for games. So, but yeah, let's see who's here right now so far. And then there's something I want to show you guys, something that you guys might find interesting. So, let's see. We have Elf of Courage is here first. Nice. Israel. Phil, what's going on, Phil? John. Mike, what's up? That is Mike, right? Change your handle to like your name. I want to be able to just call you something other than M7145. and say, hey, that's da da da, you know. Who is Sando 2725? Who is that? Are you new? Greetings from Boston, they say. Let's see, I'm going to look up your channel. I want to see who you are. Oh, there's nothing there. You joined in 2018, though. So, I'm sorry, Mark. Mark, I knew that. I'm sorry, I said Mike. I have a very close friend named Mike, and I was just talking to him. Sorry about that. That happens. Hey, that wasn't as bad of a mistake as Stephen A. saying that Charlie Kirk had 122 receiving yards the other night, okay? So that is a massive screw up. But that's what I told you guys about going live. You'll say things that you don't realize you said, or make stupid mistakes and stuff, and then you just keep talking and no one corrects you, you know. So it's funny how that works. Well, welcome, Sando. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna read you guys something very interesting. I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes just to see if anybody, a few more people get on, which I already have. We've already had some more people get on here. So, dang, cat hair again. So we'll just wait a second. Oh, okay. So here's something I want to show you guys. This is real quick. Let me see if I can screenshot this for you. For fuck's sake. Okay. What is that? Okay, so we've got a so this is from the other night. Let me see if I need to make this bigger so you can see it good. Okay, so this is from the Sunday game. The Texans Patriots. And Arthur Foxake says the good news is you'll get to find out just how bad they are next week. My reply was 3 question marks. And he kind of smarted off. He said, you said in your stream you weren't impressed. I said it was good news as you'll get to witness just how bad they are next week. And then he says, pretty simple. Okay, that's fine. I'm not calling him out or anything. This is not about that. I promise, not what that's about. It just gives me a chance to explain. And Arthur, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you commenting. But I just want to point out, guys, that was the 3.5 hour stream. And I'm not going to remember everything I said or the context of what that was. So when you write, the good news is you'll get to find out just how bad they are next week. Well, you probably commented that when you were watching, when I said it in the stream. Have no idea what that means when you asked me that. So the point of me showing this is please post a timestamp. So whenever if you comment on a live stream and you have a response, just post where I said that somewhere in the stream so I know the context of it, because I'd be happy to have a good conversation with anyone, and I would have responded a a thoughtful response. So I just didn't know what was going on. That's all. So, but instead of just writing back, I'm just going to go ahead and address Arthur's comment here. He said, you said in your stream you weren't impressed. Yeah. So it's true. So we're about to find out if that is the same team that we saw. So, they're missing their best wide receiver. That's not going to help them any, but that doesn't have anything to do with defense. Drake still has to score points. So but it could have been, just kind of getting off to a slow start kind of thing. But, we'll talk about that matchup here in a second. But what we saw between them and the Steelers was just bad football. It was some of the worst playoff football I've ever seen. It's up there. It's up there in bad football. So areas. But yeah. So from now on, just put a timestamp there so I can address you, properly. So no confusion there. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Arthur, for watching and commenting. Okay. Let's see here. So Brandon the Gamer, yeah. So this is what we're going to go after. So, they're trying to do. Okay, they want the Texans to win so bad, and when I say they, I mean everybody. Everybody. All right. We are the only ones that want to win this. Remember, when this was the dynasty. Okay, we at least had people from across the country on our side. Why? Because of the Tom Brady factor. So there were Tom Brady fans. Half of you are not even Patriots fans that are subscribed to this channel. You're Tom Brady fans. Most of you guys who like Tom Brady, you come up and tell me, I'm not even a Patriots fan. I'm a whatever. And I find out later, and I assumed y'all were Patriots fans. And then I found out after Tom's went to the Bucs that you guys were never Patriots fans. You like Tom Brady. So if this was Tom Brady's Patriots playing the Texans, we'd still have people from all over the country rooting for us, even though they like a different team. And it's just, this is just us now. If you're a Pats fan, there is no one else. Okay, Drake doesn't have that kind of fan base yet. He hasn't done anything, so they really do hate. I mean, they really hate us because they are afraid of another dynasty. Okay, they are afraid of the Patriots being good again, and they thought it was over. They thought their misery was over, but what I don't understand, this is what confuses me. The hatred that anyone had for the Patriots back then was because they were always winning and beating your teams. To carry that hatred over to now, when it's a completely different organization, the only thing that's the same is the owner, seems bizarre to me, actually. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like hating the Steelers because they were dynasty in the 70s, or hating the 49ers because they were dynasty in the 80s. It's very weird to me. Like, it's not even the same team anymore. But they care. That's their reasons for hating, because of the dynasty. Because it's like, if a new dynasty emerged, it wouldn't even be Belichick. It wouldn't be Brady. It wouldn't be all those guys that people, really got tired of getting their butts kicked. It's just funny. I just find people very, very funny. But, it's okay, Now, I know that on ESPN, those idiots, that DEI panel, with Mina Kimes, and DEI Kimes is what I call her. By the way, she absolutely hates my guts, okay? going on after her all the time. And Kay Adams, you guys know Kay Adams? Yeah, she blocked me, dude. Okay, Kay Adams finally blocked me after me talking enough junk to her. She finally got pissed off. But I'm telling you, I'm sick. I'm sick of these women who only got into sports because they were banging athletes. All right. And then they bang people in the studio when they start working, they rise up. So they bang an athlete, and then that athlete gets them an intern job at Fox Sports or ESPN or somewhere. And then while they're there, they bang a producer or one of the on-air personalities, and then they get like a real job. And then all of a sudden they start hosting, being like the moderator or whatever. And then the next thing you know, they got their own show and people are listening to their football takes, which is not even their takes. It's some producer who wrote those. So when you see Kay Adams, for example, giving her opinions and stuff, these are not her opinions. She doesn't know anything. Okay? The closest she knows to football is that she's probably had every offensive lineman of the Carolina Panthers run through her. Okay? So that's probably the closest she knows to football. So it's ridiculous. But they don't know anything. I call them DEI and Kay Adams especially because she's had way too much plastic surgery, and she was offended by my assessment. Okay, so yeah, she was a 6. No, she was a 5. Okay, go back and look at her. She was a 5. All right, she's had tons of plastic surgery. Now she's an 8, a 9 maybe. Depends on what she looks like neck down. And then she acts like she's hot shit. It just bugs me. And DEI Kimes, can't stand that bitch. Can't stand that bitch. And who's that other one? Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill. You got to say it like Shaq. Anyway, they're all hoes. Look, if the one girl we thought had credibility, you know who I'm talking about? There was one girl that we all thought had credibility. I even used to talk about her. Why did she have credibility? See if you can guess what I'm talking about. I thought she had credibility because of her brother. And she seemed to understand what she was saying. And then all of a sudden she got her own show. It's like, damn. Okay. And you started to think, okay, maybe there's something there. Maybe we found the one woman who actually knows football and knows what she's doing. Oh, no. We found out that, what is she? She banged Skip probably. She banged another producer. She probably banged Shannon. Who knows? Everybody she screwed. But that's why she kept moving up the ladder and getting her own show. And then they give her her own show and they put her next to Acho, Emmanuel or Sam, one of the brothers. And what they do is they dress all like Malcolm X. You know, they put on their little suits and their little costumes and they put on their glasses and they're very analytical and very, very intelligent and insightful. And then they try to use big words that you can tell they just learned on a, word of the day toilet paper or something that they got. But it's all so manufactured and stupid. Okay. This is the people who picked on the ESPN panel, and they all picked Houston Texans. They all picked the Texans. And they didn't even know each other picked the Texans. They were all surprised. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe we all picked the Texans. What the hell? Now, you ready for this? This is where they're so stupid that they didn't even realize that they ratted themselves out. So DEI Kimes, here's what she goes, oh man, I thought everybody was going to pick the Patriots because of the injury. And so I went with Houston. Wait a minute. Do you see what that means? Yeah, it's Joy Taylor I was talking about. Yeah, but you see what that means? So Kimes was picking a team based on what she thought the other people were going to do. This means that she is not picking teams based on who she thinks is going to win. What is the point of you? Why are you there? What are you up there for? Was this a competition between her and the other ones? Just so you can say, ha ha, if you win, it goes the other way. So you don't believe the Texans are going to win. You believe the Patriots are going to win, but you picked the Texans because you thought the other people were going to. It's so stupid. The problem is that she doesn't even realize what she just said and what that looks like. And that's what we're talking about here. That is what we're talking about. It's ridiculous. But hey, the disrespect for this New England team is crazy. All right, listen, we might lose. You know why we might lose? Because we can lose to anybody and we can beat anybody. You know why? Because this is the NFL. There's no way to know who's going to win. Okay? There's no way to know that. You can just kind of, assess it and try to guess. But stop making it sound like this Texans team is the 2000 Ravens. All right? I don't know how this happened. The Texans kind of awkwardly bumbled their way into the playoffs and turned into kind of a good team, and then everyone started just a little bit talking about them. And now it went from that. And then this is after we just saw one of the worst playoff performances we've ever fucking seen by a team. And now, just within a matter of days, the Texans are some kind of juggernaut, being led by the second coming of Steve Young. It's like, what has happened? It's unbelievable. It's just, people are hilarious, man. Again, any team is capable of beating any team. So this is not some stretch. Oh, if Houston wins, it's not some shame. Okay, it's what are we talking here? I mean, but to make it sound like that the Patriots are going up against some massive juggernaut that can't be stopped. Come on. There is not a team left that is a sure thing. This isn't the Chiefs, okay? This isn't the Patriots, the old Patriots. This isn't. This is anybody's Super Bowl, okay? So every team left is quite capable of taking it. There's no upsets here, okay? There's no oh man, we lost that team and they suck. I can't believe it. Look at who's left. These are all teams that have performed pretty well. They're performed admirably. There's, what is it? I mean, it's just, I just really annoyed by the way people are acting about this. DEI Kimes. What a bitch. Susie Colbert. Yeah, they got rid of her, didn't she? Susie knew what was up. Yeah, it's we found out they want interns and that do what they say. I mean, I used to have Milena on the show here. And Milena came on the show not because she knew football and not because she had some kind of crazy insights into football every week. That's not what that was. First of all, it was something that me and her did together. It was fun. Second, in the early days of the show, it was just kind of weird talking to a camera. It was kind of strange and just felt goofy. So it said, hey, you want to sit on the show? And then I'm like, I'm talking to you, but and you just say some things back to me. Because when we're talking in private and I tell her something about football, she just listens. And then she'll say something like a little something back, a retort of some kind. And I'll oh yeah. and then that will trigger another response. I wasn't trying to sell her as some kind of knowledgeable person and giving her things to say so I could, make it look like that she knew, and then telling you guys stuff, and really it's just me talking through her. There was times where Milena wouldn't speak for like 10 minutes, 15, whatever, and if she thought she had something to say, she would say it. And that was it, To have these women and put them up, that's fine, but don't put your words and your thoughts through them and then try to sell it. Okay? I think that's fraud. To me, that's fraud. I think that's, it's like having ChatGPT write everything I'm saying to you guys. So really, I'm just, or Grok or whatever. This is just Grok talking to you guys. I have like a whole entire set of words here, and I'm just filling them in and making the pauses and making it try to sound weird and natural and stuff. But really, I add in the stutters and I add in the weird pauses and all that, and it makes it look real. What if you guys found out that I was just reading from Grok? How lame would that be? There'd be no point in ever listening to me again. It was just like, well, you could have just read that. You could have just wrote it on Grok and said, hey, tell me what Aaron's thoughts are going to be this weekend. So, but that's what they do with these girls. Get a girl that knows her stuff. If you want a girl, get a girl that knows her stuff. Or if she doesn't know her stuff, be obvious about what you're doing. Okay? It's kind of like, let us know that she's either eye candy or there's some other reason why she's there or something, but it's not to be an expert. Okay? Molly Karam. You guys remember Molly on First Take? We know why Molly was there. Okay? Molly was hot. She had nice tits. That's why she was there. That's why she was up there. As years went by, she got more confident. She wanted to start talking. And then when she started talking, we realized how dumb she was. So she probably should have just not spoken. But then we noticed a difference. There was a big change. When all of a sudden, we could tell that the writers were giving her things to say because it didn't sound like her anymore. That's fraud. Okay? That's what that is. And that's what they do. That's what they do. People are still glued to these shows, though. I don't watch them anymore. The only reason I know about these few things here is because of X. And people clip them, and then you see the clips and things like that. But I don't watch them. I used to watch them. Years ago, I used to watch them. But... yeah, and then I don't know if you guys saw the interview with Max Kellerman, where Max Kellerman completely told everybody exactly what I was saying about these shows. I think I addressed this in one of the Brady Hate episodes, one of the later ones, where it's all just nonsense. They have a pre-production meeting, and then they get together that morning, like at 6, 7 a.m. or something before the show. And they're given a list of topics from the producers. And they have to decide who takes which side of the argument. So that means that every subject has an argument. Well, that's not real. Because we all know that sports fans, just naturally, half the time, we're going to agree on something. So... That's average. It's probably higher than that in most cases, depending on who you're talking to. But so for First Take and Undisputed was real, you'd have half the show where those two are actually agreeing with each other and going, yeah, I agree with that. What, you guys really think that Shannon Sharp didn't know that Tom Brady was the GOAT? And then all of a sudden they catch him off guard at some kind of event. And he says to the camera, he'd been drinking. He's just, I know. Aaron Rodgers ain't got nothing on Brady. We know Brady's the GOAT. That's the truth. That was a production. That wasn't real. It's a stupid, It's all stupid. And it became his brand. The Brady hate thing, the LeBron thing, that all became, he was a character on a show, the LeBron stuff, wearing the LeBron jersey, the LeBron shoes. This is Shannon Sharp. Dude, he played in the 90s. He knows Jordan. He was around for that. You really think an old dude like that is going to be such a LeBron fan? No, this is his thing. It's his thing. That's what he does. And he embraced it. It became a thing. And then he starts showing up at games and stuff. It's all nonsense. It's just, and Skip Bayless, dude, he posts stuff just to, it's, he's like the original clickbait and rage bait. That's what he is. He's like a human. If clickbait was a human, it's Skip Bayless. I mean, I remember watching First Take. It used to be called, it wasn't always called First Take. It was called Cold Pizza First and 10. And this is back in the time where it was Skip Bayless against Woody Page. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He was a guy who wrote for the Denver Post for a long time. And so it was a show between those two, and it was moderated by a guy named Jay something. I think he still works for ESPN. Little guy. But they would debate going back and forth, and then they had other debate. There was other debate shows. There was Pardon the Interruption. I know that's still in the air, but these were the beginning. And then they brought in Around the Horn, where debate became like a contest. But Skip was the one that was constantly saying stupid crap, stuff that didn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense. And so there were characters. It was Skip saying crazy, stupid crap. And it was Woody Page seeming to be more of the level-headed one. And that's the dynamic they had with Stephen A. and Skip. So Skip is the, when they changed it to First Take, Skip became the hot take guy, and Stephen A. became the voice of reason. He also became the reaction guy. He was our reaction, right? So he was the embodiment of our reaction at home, watching at home. Skip says Tim Tebow is going to be the greatest quarterback that's ever lived. We're all at home going, what? Are you freaking stupid? And Stephen A.'s job is to do that for us. So while we're going, what? Stephen A.'s going, what? You can't be serious. Oh my God, you need to be fired. You suck. You're an idiot. And we keep watching. We keep watching. They got us. Because you had an emotional connection. Okay? You had an emotional connection to Stephen A.'s reaction. And that's what they keep going. So these are the idiots that people are relying on to make bets. Okay, so people bet. Okay, they put their money, their hard-earned money, on this stuff based off a lot of the opinions of these people. It's weird, right? What's up, Tyree? Tyree, tell everybody what you were telling me. Nightwalker, what's up, Daniel? Deutschland. Yeah, Brandon the Gamer, we need the schedule to play well. I've never seen a schedule play so well, honestly. I didn't even know the schedule could play football. And yeah, we're that's going to have to be Drake May's nickname now, right? The schedule. That actually sounds pretty cool, honestly. That does sound pretty cool. And that quarterback for the New England Patriots, number 10, the schedule. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. Look how that worked out. I'm a genius. I'm a freaking genius. Yep, Shannon blew up off that character. Absolutely. CJ Stroud, I don't know what the hell was going on with him the other night, but I really hope that we get that guy again. I don't like how YouTube shows y'all's at whatever tags, because it used to say you just have your real names, your names on your YouTube handle, and now, because this is sometimes different. It's like sometimes it's the whatever they assigned you at the beginning or something. It just makes it weird. I wish they would change that back. Nathan says, first I saw Skip was the post Super Bowl show after Seattle beat Denver. He and the other guy made it sound like Wes Welker. It was Wes Welker's fault Denver lost. Ryan Clark was the sane one. Yeah, well, that's how they assign them. So they tell them their positions and who they're going to be before the show, and what, you know. Or sometimes they just let them pick it, depending on, because sometimes people may have like a real opinion, you know, and they'll say, okay, well, I'll take the other side then. Yeah, Michael Irvin. Yeah, Michael Irvin he's just always on cocaine, and so you're just getting Michael. You're getting the same Michael that was catching touchdowns in Super Bowls. So. Yeah, so Tyree, our very own Tyree Vaughn, is going back to school for data science and business and sports analysis. He wants to compete in the Big Data Bowl. And, of course, Tyree, you have our massive support here. And please keep us updated on how that's going and the details, because you know, most of us probably don't know a lot of the details about it. So that is awesome to hear. I'm very, very, very happy for you. That is awesome. What's up, kiddo? Oh, you want to get on camera, huh? Okay. Yeah? Yeah? Are you a superstar? Are you in show business now? You a superstar? Good job. Good job. There you go. Okay. This is Amelia. This is one of 4. I have 4 cats. Good thing I have a big place, because you don't normally see them all at the same time. There's always one missing somewhere. Okay, can I have my hand back though? No? Okay. No? All right. I need my hand. I need my right hand. Yes? Okay, now you're licking it. Okay, I'm going to get my... Okay, I'm free. Thank you. Do I think we can beat Kansas City next season? I think everyone's going to beat Kansas City next season. Okay, I'm kind of joking around, but I don't know. We still need to see a lot what happens, because I think there was a certain point. Well, obviously how they ended the year, they started tanking for a better pick, of course, but they were sucking before Patrick got hurt, And all of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe that he's going to come back and magically just be this amazing player when his entire game is reliant on mobility. And it doesn't mean that he can't do it. I mean, we've seen athletes have, that same injury and come back and do amazing things. But those guys weren't sucking before they went out. See, Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's the best that's ever played. He's mentally the strongest player that we've ever seen. Crazy work ethic, all that, right? And when he got his injury, he was coming off an 18-1 season, a 16-0 regular season, 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. The greatest quarterback season of all time. That's what he was doing when he got hurt. And even when he finally come back in 2009, we saw how rusty he was. We saw how weird it was and awkward it was for him. And it took some time. That whole year was just kind of a weird year. And then in 2010, he was back to form. But again, this was coming off of being good again, or being good already. Patrick was dog shit all year, okay? Before he ever got hurt. So he was regressing. What happens is a lot of guys are good in the beginning of their career because there's so many reasons why this could be. One, if they're in a good situation and they actually are talented, which Patrick is, obviously, when you're that, he's a Hall of Fame player, right? So when you come out the gate and you're on a good team in a good situation, you can be good, and then people really don't have a lot of understanding of who you are or how to beat you. And especially when you have a coach like Andy Reid, right? That will eventually catch up with you, though. And I want you to think about something, okay? Have you ever seen I think it's from the TV show Playmakers. You guys ever seen that show? I posted it on the channel if you've never seen it. So just give me a response here. See, this is why I had Milena on the show, because she'd say, "Oh yeah, I love that show." Okay, and then I would, yeah. So see, this is why. But you guys remember ESPN made that show Playmakers back in the early 2000s. NFL made them take it down because it was too accurate, right? Budget. What are you doing? She's distracting me. Okay. All right, whatever. So there's this show called Playmakers, okay? It's about the NFL. It was a fictional world, but it was exactly the same, okay? Coach is sitting in the office with the old workhorse running back that they've always had. He's turning 30. He's freaking out because he's 30, right? He comes in the office, he says, "Why are you letting this rookie get my carries?" And he goes, because you slowed down a step. I've only lost half a second. You think a half a second is going to be the difference? I'm still better. Coach puts on the tape. Does it in slow motion. It's just half second, 1 second, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Freeze frame. The difference between you hitting that and missing that tackle was half a second. That was a touchdown because you were half a second faster than the other guy. He showed him the frame on video. Half a second slower, you're tackled for a loss. This has been happening to Patrick Mahomes. So when you see Mahomes get those stupid ass runs out of bounds and he picks up the first downs, He gets those. A lot of times he gets those within reach of a defender. That was the difference between a first down or 4th and short. So what if he can't get there as fast anymore? He was already slowing down. He was already having more. We saw that. We already saw him. We did a lot of his games this year. We saw him having trouble do the things he used to do. He was even slowing down last year, actually. But now, won't he be even at least as slow? Surely, right? So it's going to take a whole nother year just for him to be okay and get reacclimated. But is he ever going to be that guy again? He's not a pocket passer, so he can't rely on it. This is why Phillip Rivers was able to come back and play for the Colts this year and did an admirable job. Okay, serviceable job, we should say. It's pocket passer. Phillip didn't have to worry about whether or not he was mobile because he wasn't mobile before. He was a statue. But Phillip was all about hitting the guy from the pocket and then taking the hit, taking the sack, or taking the hit and but making that throw. That's not Patrick. So what's going to happen to the Chiefs? I think it's I think the era that we've known them of I think that's ended. Now, whether or not Andy Reid retools it and then it becomes something else, that's possible. Of course that's possible. But it won't be the team that we knew before. That's over. That's all over. So my guess would be the most likely scenario here would probably be that they just go completely all in. Like, well, I know they tried, but they do probably need some changes in the coaching staff. I would recommend going all defense, just complete and pure defense, and trying to be maybe like a Baltimore Ravens type team. You're probably not going to win any Super Bowls or anything like that, but at least you'll be a decent team. The days of having these high flying offenses and all that stuff, I think that's probably done. But that's just me. Yeah, the Nathan, the Favre comparison though, it's weird. So if you notice that Favre never got back to a Super Bowl after the second one, and it just the older he got, the more of a liability he became, trying to make that backyard football happen. I would say that Favre and Mahomes is probably a good comparison. Like, it makes sense why people compare them. Like, it does. There's some of that in both of them, right? I think Patrick's interceptions are going to go up. He's making weird throws that make no sense. He's trying to force balls in that he used to be able to get in. He can't get them there anymore. He cannot fit them in. And he doesn't have the same upper body strength as Brett does. He did not have the same arm Brett does. Brett's arm stayed that way all the way. And I already see Patrick, in that sense, regressing too. So I don't know. I think this is probably the end of the line as far as Super Bowls go. But with competing, who knows? So, but Israel says, I have a feeling Drake May will outlast Mahomes. Definitely not going to win nearly as much and got to that many Super Bowls. But yeah. Well, the thing is, Israel, is the Patriots, going to 10, or I'm sorry, the Patriots going to 9 with Brady. Brady went to 10, but going to 9 with Brady and winning 6 is such an anomaly that it can't even be. It's just so bizarre, right? We also know that the Chiefs, a lot of things went correctly for them. A lot of things that were a little weird, but they did it. Okay, fine. We'll leave it like that. Here's what you need to win in the NFL and to win big and to win lots of times. You need 2 things: a coach and a quarterback. You got a coach, you got a quarterback, and you can do great things. So we got that. We got that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, I see. You mean early on? Yeah. Well, that Mahomes winning so much early is very, very odd to begin with, But it's very rare for a 10th overall pick to go to a team that is already a very good team. So that doesn't happen. That just never happens. Like such a high pick always goes to a garbage team. So it's years and years of development. And by the time that quarterback is winning, it's because years and years had gone into that. So they're not winning until they're in their mid to late 20s. And that's if they start winning at all. It's very rare what happened with Patrick. So yeah, that's probably a given for anybody at this point. Nathan says, there's a belief that pure pocket passers are dying, and there's some truth to that, although I think the traditional pocket passers are dying, and there are mobile pocket passers in the league. Okay. The NFL goes through fads, and it rotates, and it seems to rotate. And the era of the Cam Newton, type quarterback. They tried this back in the early 2000s and it kind of just didn't work. But Cam Newton came along and teams are copycats. Okay. So they'll see something from college. Like, remember when the Wildcat became a thing? And then everyone starts copying that. That's how it goes with drafting and how you're redoing your teams and stuff like that. And then another team copies that, another team copies that. That's what's been happening here. Look at the quarterbacks that are left in the playoffs. Most of them can throw from the pocket, or at least, or pocket passers in general. So pocket passer first, I should say. That's their greatest strength. And then they can do the other things. There is no defense against a pocket passer, okay? There never will be. So the moment that the league goes too far to this mobile quarterback crap, then there will be a pushback, and then people will start and then in college. So see, a lot this stuff's coming from college. But anyway, a coach is going to come along in college and say everyone's doing the mobile quarterback nonsense. We're going to do, and that's what the defenses are focused on, is stopping that. We're going to train our kid to be a pocket passer, and he's going to dominate. And that's going to work. And this guy's going to be a superstar, And then everyone's going to copy that, and that's going to copy that. And then the NFL is going to be like, okay, well, we need to do that again. Circle. Okay. So the only difference is you have to have, first of all, you have to have the correct offensive lineman. Secondly, you have to get rid of the ball. You have to know what you're doing. You have to read defenses, before. Another thing that caused this problem was coaches like Sean McVay. Okay. So these are coaches that want to live vicariously through the quarterback. You can see they want to be the quarterback. They always wanted to be that guy, but they can't. So they live through that guy. By living through him, that quarterback becomes a puppet. So he never develops those skills and never develops those abilities. And now college is sending those guys to us because they're doing that same thing in college. So it's not that the pocket passer's dying as like becoming extinct or something. It's more of just we're seeing more of the what I call the idiot quarterbacks. So don't know how to read, don't know how to read defenses, they might not know how to read some of them. Have you seen the Wonderlic scores on these guys? But they're just a fad. Okay. They're just like anything else. It goes in cycles. So it'll come back. You pissed in a urinal next to Sean McVay. Can you be the next Packers head coach? Probably. I remember we used to say that all the time, right? So, Matt LaFleur. Running for a quarterback is panic mode, usually. It's very rare when a guy's running because it's justifiable. Meaning, so if you go back and look at their tape and you see that they ran out of the pocket and they made this big play and they're like, well, he had no choice, he had to bail. Go back and look at the tape and you will find a receiver that he could have hit. Okay, you'll see it. You'll be like, oh, why did he even run? Like, okay, so he ran from a first down. He got on SportsCenter highlights. But he had a guy wide open for a 30-yard bomb right over there. But all anyone saw was the highlight of that quarterback running for it. And, oh, he's so amazing. It's like, okay, you completely missed a 30-yard play right there. Because you panicked. Because he wasn't your first read. And you bailed. So normally that is you bailing. There's almost always going to be somebody out there. You just have to know where to find them and how to find them. And if there's not, it's okay to take a sack. Running around also is how you get injured. It's also how you're never available. Just if anybody's wondering. So How many games do you think Aaron Rodgers missed in his career trying to play hero ball? Just curious. It's very, very odd, right? Carson Wentz, isn't all of his injuries while playing hero ball? Just it's very, very weird. The guys who break or have the long streaks of like never missing a start and stuff, they're almost always pocket passers. Who's got the longest streak? Eli Manning, right? Eli Manning, dude was a statue. Peyton had it for a while until he never missed a game until his neck. Brady had it on both sides of his injury, which you can't even do anymore. You can't even go at the quarterback's legs. So that would have never happened had what happened to Carson Palmer become a penalty or become a penalty before. Then that never would have happened to Brady, and he still would never missed a game. He would have broken the Iron Man streak. He probably would have broken Brett Favre's, But your odds are that you don't play hero ball, you're going to be healthy. So as well. So there's an added benefit. And people are going to realize this. Everything's going to come full circle. Okay. These mobile quarterbacks or whatever, the injuries is just like, how often is Lamar Jackson not available? Really? I mean, how long can you do that for? So it's Joe Burrow's always injured. It's almost always something he's doing. It's just very weird. So, but his last 2 injuries was him. He was outside of the pocket, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. If you see, exactly, Catfish, if you see Tom Brady running, that was the only thing there. Okay. If he's running, that means that was it. Okay. So there's times where you have to, there's times where you don't want to, but there's times where you have to. I get that. But the problem with these guys is that is their default position. So there's something I want to show you guys. Speaking of Sean McVay, let me see. I'll pull up this video. Might be easier to just download it real quick, probably. This is really going to reveal what I've been telling you guys about the Rams. This is important because you'll see. Yeah, I'm just going to, give me just a second. I'm going to download it here and then put it up here on the thing for you. Okay. So what I'm about to show you this is Sean McVay sending in a play to Matthew Stafford infection. And he won't shut up. Okay? This is going to explain to you what I meant when I said that Sean McVay ruined Jared Goff and then kicked him out. And then needed to bring in somebody who could listen to this garbage. Okay? And now everyone thinks McVay is the genius, right? Check this out.
Hey, speed left edge Jack. All right, it's going to be American Exchange.
Sorry about that. Just a second.
Can it? All right. Hey, speed left edge Jack. All right, it's going to be American Exchange. Can it? All right, with 3-jet rib Z brownie. Oh, easy. Listen. 13 duo Tim. Yeah, here it is. Woo! I got it. Please stop. Yes, please stop. Oh my God, he's still going. Hey, he's still going. Hey, snatch this if you get him, right? I mean, he's still going. You're 1.5 yards from an edge split in the middle. I mean, this is unbelievable what I'm getting right now. Holy, boys. Hey, speed left edge Jack. All right.
Okay. You guys hear that? That was not a coach talking to his quarterback. That was a massive, giant ego masquerading as a coach talking to his quarterback. That was utterly pathetic. He picked this crap up from John Gruden. That's where he got it from. and he's trying to be like John Gruden. Okay? But this is the garbage that Jared Goff was listening to as a second-year player. So, Jared Goff is drafted by Jeff Fisher. Yes, Jeff Fisher. That guy. So you're already screwed. Okay? Your rookie year is going to be a disaster. Nobody is surviving that. Your second year, you get a new coach, you think everything, okay, this guy, young guy, he's going to be able to develop me. He's going to be on my side. No. That's not what happens. He starts barking crap into my headset forever. There's absolutely no excuse. There is no reason for a play to be that long, to be that complicated. It's football, okay? It's football. That is ego. That he is wanting everyone to say, oh, listen to how complex that sounds. Listen to how crazy and amazing that sounds. Dude, it's football, okay? Yes, there are innovative ways to call plays and stuff, but to take the entire time of the play clock in order to deliver a play, that is you, dude. That is your ego talking. Stafford knew the play from the first two words. The first two words, he knew what was going on, and he knew what to do. And then Sean McVay's like, blah, 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 X, right, sub, Z, spider, Y2, banana, blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut up. Please, shut up. Now, go back and watch, okay? Go back and watch Super Bowl 53. All right? This is what Jared Goff is dealing with. First of all, he's dealing with Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. Or not Matt Patricia. Brian Flores. So you know already that there is going to be a, pretty good defense out there, and a very bizarre looking stuff at times, right? So you're going to get that. But you're dealing with that. You're dealing with some world-class Patriots players out there. You're dealing with the fact that your coach is an idiot, meaning that he didn't change anything, and Brian Hoyer, okay, gave Belichick the entire game plan. So Brian Hoyer walks in Belichick's office. The game that everyone's saying Belichick is a genius. Brian Hoyer just gave an interview about this the other day. He said, yeah, I was watching on TV and all the calls were the same. I knew exactly what they were doing. So he takes it to Belichick. Hey, Bill, I think we can win this game. I mean, they probably can't score if we know all their plays, right? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't score, you probably don't win. Yeah. So, okay. Well, great. Then here is, I know all the calls. If they do this, and this is this coverage, this is this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So don't change that. So as Jared Goff, you have a coach that's a dumb shit. Okay. The one they call little boy genius. So all that is already going against you. But at the same time, up until the 15 seconds you have left when it gets turned off, you're listening to that. Blah, 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 blah. By the time he shut up, not because he shut up, but because the NFL turns it off at 15 seconds. You've got 15 seconds now to deliver the play, get to the line of scrimmage, check out the defense, see if you need to audible, and then snap the ball. And this is all happening in the Super Bowl. Knowing that if you fuck up, the guy on the other side is Tom Brady. That was Jared Goff's life as the quarterback for the Rams. What happens after that? A few years later, Jared gets blamed for it. He takes the fall. I watched Sean McVay say, based, he said this in little fancy political words, but it's the same thing. Sends Goff away, brings in Stafford. Why? Why did he have to do that? Because he ruined Jared. He ruined him because he didn't know how to develop a quarterback. That was his job, is to do that. He brought in a quarterback that had already been in the league forever and can listen to that nonsense. Okay? And just put up with it. So, that's Sean McVay. Okay? That's these guys. That's what they've done to the NFL. And this has ruined a lot of why we don't have those guys anymore, like Manning and like Tom. Okay? Is these coaches are a big part of the problem. They want to live through the quarterback. That's what they want. They want to be the guy. They want to be the geniuses. Why is Mike Shanahan never? What? Not Mike, sorry. Gotta forgive me, I'm older. Kyle Shanahan. Why does Kyle Shanahan never went after Brady, never went after Aaron? Because he'd rather be the genius, because those quarterbacks would never, ever listen to that nonsense. They wouldn't do it. All day, I mean, it's just like, what? What are you talking about? Well, maybe Aaron might, but Tom definitely would. Shut up. Just shut up. That's why Tom wears the wristband. He needs time to think. Just call the play. If I like it, I'll take it. Otherwise, shut up. Kyle Shanahan would rather not win, but be thought of as the genius on the team and have mediocrity, anywhere from mediocrity to good teams, but still be the guy, then win a Super Bowl and have to share credit with a great quarterback that would, he would rather, like Phil's saying, he'd rather win. He's going to try to win with this 7th round pick no matter what. Knowing that reaching out to Brady back then would have guaranteed you a Super Bowl, dude. I'm sorry, but it would have. More than one. Yeah, it's like, it's crazy to think about. In 2000, 2020, the very moment that Tom announced that he was leaving the Patriots, 49ers, hello? Hey, what do you need? Come on. Oh, no. Imagine if Tom was there in 2019, that was him instead of Jimmy Garoppolo playing the Chiefs. But no, they wanted to keep more of that. Why? Because they've got to win Kyle's way. That's why. Ego. That's these guys now. That's these guys. Matt LaFleur. I don't need to win with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to win with Jordan Love. Because I'm a genius. I'm going to draft Jordan Love first in the first round, right behind Aaron, right up his ass. Even though Aaron was asking for a wide receiver in the first round, I'm going to say, no, screw you. I'm going to get a first-round quarterback, and I'm going to show everybody the genius that is Matt LaFleur. When we're going up against Brady in the NFC Championship game, I'm not going to give you 4 downs to work with. I'm such a genius that we're going to make Tom Brady get a first down. So that's my genius on display. I'm going to take the ball out of the hands of my best player. And we're going to try to keep the greatest quarterback that has ever breathed air on earth to stop him from getting a first down. See if we can stop him from getting 10 yards on a team that their thing is offense. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job, dude. That's these coaches, man. That's these coaches. What do these guys have in common? Can you tell me? What do these guys have in common? McVay, LeFleur, Kyle, McDaniels, or not Josh McDaniels, McDaniel. Serial killer. The serial killer. The guy who's probably got dead prostitutes in his trunk. What do they got in common, guys? Anybody know? Anybody know what they have in common? No? Okay. What's up, Sydney? New England Fever. Who's that? Welcome. Love seeing new people. But anyway, Crossbear, what's up on Rumble? What they all have in common is that they were on the same coaching staff together. This is learned behavior. This is ego. This is an ego thing. It's connected to Gruden ultimately. If you go high enough, it's John Gruden. Then it's connected to Gruden's brother Jay. Okay, and then they were all on the same staffs together at some point, crisscrossing. Okay, so this is that. This is that Gruden thing I was telling you about. That John Gruden was the same way. Okay, to a certain extent, Sean Payton is a lot like that. He is like that in many ways. He's not as bad as that, but he probably is one of the, you know, I'd say the guy who started this all is probably Bill Walsh. Like as far as, you know, trying to live through your quarterback, but it was nothing like this. I'm just saying that's probably its humble beginnings, you know, and I use the word humble in a comedic way. So Sean Payton is a douche. That's why he was a douche. He's always been a douchebag. Nobody knew this before, I guess. What's up, Blind Assassin? How you doing, man? So if you're Kyle Shanahan, you could have gotten Tom Brady. Could have got Aaron Rodgers. Could have said no to Jimmy G. Could have said no to giving Brock Purdy all that money. If you're Matt LaFleur, you could have given Aaron a first-round wide receiver instead of Jordan Love. Aaron would still be on the Packers right now. If you're Sean McVay, you still have Jared Goff. You probably, if you now this is all based on if they did things the right way, okay, and didn't do things the way they are. Obviously, we know how the way they are. So I'm changing this. I'm saying if they weren't all arrogant, egocentric douchebags, this is how the world would be. So the 49ers would have Brady. Packers would still have Aaron Rodgers. The Rams would still have Goff, but yet they would have a good Goff, a better Goff, a Goff that's just as good or better than Matthew Stafford. and they would have another 8 years of a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, instead of Stafford, who is any moment away from retirement, probably a year, maybe 2 years at the most. So that is the outcome that would have happened. So it's just depends on, I guess, what you think is best. But John Thomas Chavez says, San Francisco also at one point had Sam Darnold on the roster as Purdy's backup. Didn't want to pay him to stick around. Look at what Darnold's done in Minneapolis and Seattle since. Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. Kyle does a lot of what his dad tells him to do. So there's a bit of an issue there as well. You see, Kyle's dad, Mike, had to share credit with a quarterback, John Elway. So Mike won 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos in 97 and 98 seasons. No one talks about Mike Shanahan. No one talks about him as being the genius coach. No one talks about him in any form close to other head coaches that's won multiple Super Bowls, like Bill Parcells, for example, or Tom Coughlin. They only talk about Elway, and that burned Mike. And then when he went and he started coaching the Redskins, you guys remember when he was coaching the Redskins? It was always just complete and utter mediocrity. He was going to win his way. He wanted to show everybody that he could be Bill Parcells. He could be Joe Gibbs. He could win without that star Hall of Fame quarterback. And his son has taken on the same thing. You know who else thinks like this? Belichick. Belichick and his coaching staff were the same way. By the way, Belichick and Mike Shanahan are close friends, just in case you guys didn't know that. Okay? But the Belichick and his staff, they didn't think they needed Brady. By the mid-2000s, they were convinced that they could take a top 15 quarterback and win those 3 Super Bowls. That they were that full of themselves. These coaches think that they work at NASA, guys. They think that they are working in some like high science crap, that they are the only ones who know anything that's going on, that they're the smartest guys on earth. And they really do believe that. They think that they're like the puppet masters of everything. The ego in these guys is astounding. What's up, Katie? Baby V says hi. Tell Baby V, make sure she goes to bed on time. Oh, that's cool, Minute Man. Have fun. Israel says, after seeing that clip of McVay not shutting the F up with his stupid play calling, I think you're validated. Funny thing is, even Snoop Dogg used to get on McVay for always being in Goff's eardrum. This has been going on a while, guys. I picked up on this in McVay's first year when he was there. And I knew the reputation of these other guys, too. What's up, James? So, if you can't tell by my screen here, so these are my picks. Please do not bet money on these picks because nobody knows. Okay. Or don't blame me if you do. Okay. So, but if you win, then you can throw me a super chat or something. But the Rams are going into the Bears into extreme cold. Apparently, the weather is not going to be very good. John Harbaugh already signed with the Giants, didn't he? I thought it was a done deal. But I think it makes the Giants infinitely better overnight. So the Rams. Okay, so first of all, someone the other day, because it was in a conversation on X, talking about how Stafford used to play in Detroit. Okay, so he used to play in the NFC North, so he's used to the cold. I don't know how long that person's been watching football. Or maybe they don't pay attention. I'm not sure what that statement meant. But I'll tell you this. Stafford played 9 games per year in a dome. Okay? So it's 9 games guaranteed every season in a dome. That was 8 at Ford Field. And that's 1 with the Minnesota Vikings, except for that weird off year where the Vikings were playing at a university. You've got 1 game at Chicago and 1 game at Green Bay, both outdoors, right? But the thing is that depending on the year, that game in Chicago or Green Bay could be in September or October. So you might only have 1 game that is in the cold weather, and 1 you probably lose. And then you have the rest of the schedule that rotates, and who knows, depending on the year, whatever that schedule is planned for that year, whatever division. But that's the guarantees. Not if that wasn't bad enough. He's been in LA for years now. Okay? And take it from someone who has moved in every climate. Okay? It goes away fast. Okay? The moment you're pulled away from a climate that you're used to, and you live in a new climate, and you're there for an extended amount of time, you are now that. That is what you are. It's just how it works. And it's way worse. It's way worse when you're older. So what would affect you at 24 is going to affect you way worse at 40 or 45. That's just, you have no idea how lucky we got, when Tom went to Green Bay, and it was actually a nice night. It was actually it was not Green Bay weather like you think about, because even Tom had complained. He said, yeah, I can't handle the cold anymore. It hurts. It now that I'm older, it just sucks. But that was a great night. That the first half of the game was sunny, and it was just, that worked out for us. Okay, that worked out for Brady. That could have been a disaster. Okay, especially a team coming from Tampa Bay and all those players. It almost ended up being a disaster anyway. But what the Rams are going into, Stafford, we saw Stafford when it just started raining in Carolina. Okay, so I don't want to let's not talk about this. Let's just talk about how Stafford. He's not ready for this. What's even worse is that the Rams have been practicing inside a bubble. What are they doing? Okay, if I'm the head coach of the Rams, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to call a university. Surely you have some connections. Call a university up there in the Northeast, or the North. Not Northeast. I don't know why I said that. And you call them and you say, hey, can we practice at your facility this week? That's what you do. Hell, call the Green Bay Packers. You know, McVay and Matt LaFleur, they share urinals together. Call them. Hey, Matt LaFleur, can we borrow your training facility? I don't even know if that's legal or allowed in the NFL, but if it is, I'd be calling him up. I certainly wouldn't be practicing inside a bubble in Los Angeles. And why do you need a bubble in LA? Are you serious right now? Like, what is that? How weak are you? This weather situation is a massive advantage for the Bears. It is massive. Because all these Bears do is play in this. It's just cold. It's just cold, you know? And I've been to Chicago once, but it was during the summer. But from what I hear, it's pretty rough. So, and it looks pretty rough right now. I'll give the Rams props if they can pull out a win here. But it's going to be a low-scoring game, in my opinion. I know that's easy to say, but I'm just telling you, just being honest. So yeah, I'm not that confident in the Rams getting this done. The thing is that I'm not that confident in the Bears either, only because I've seen them so many times screw stuff up that was right there for them. That was right in their hands. It should have been theirs. It should have been easy. And they just screw it up. It's like everything was handed to you and you screw it up. But not this time. I've watched the Rams all year too many times. They can't hack it when things are tough. They need the conditions to be safe, you know? And I don't think they're ready for it. Yeah, well, we better not lose our advantage. The Patriots are a cold weather team, and you put us in a dome, and it's over. It's over. No, the entire Patriots legacy is the cold. I mean, that is what we do. That is that team's thing. Can't take that away. Cindy Eubank says Ben Johnson had the Bears practice in the cold with no heaters. That should tell you something. That right there. That is how it's done. That's coaching. I know it sounds obvious, like, well, duh, but really, no, it's not duh, because Sean McVay is an idiot. So, Sean McVay is the most overrated coach in the NFL. He is not. Okay? Listen, the only reason they were in the Super Bowl and the reason they did so well as they did is because Wade Phillips was defensive coordinator. Okay? Wade Phillips is an insanely amazing defensive coordinator. Okay? He was awesome. And don't even talk to me about the 2021 team. Don't even talk to me about 2021. I don't even want to go there right now. F all you mother, you know. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to get a new Coke, okay? And I'll be right back. I want to show you guys something. I'm going to pull something that I wrote from the archives from a long time ago. It's going to be eye-opening because of the way we talk about Tom Brady. And something me and Israel were discovered last night. I think it was last night. Maybe it was the night before. It doesn't matter. Recently. Okay? But I'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be fun. Okay? So Boom. All right, let's go. If if I'm Sean McVay and I can't find, anywhere to take the team to practice in the cold because I'm in LA, guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna go inside that little bubble and we're gonna bring in like every air conditioner we can find in the Los Angeles greater area. And well, Los Angeles doesn't have a greater area because that would imply that it's great. So I'd say the Los Angeles area. And you would bring in, air conditionings and everything. And I would make that inside of that place so freaking cold. I'm talking, it would be awful. And not only that, I'd have these huge fans that would just blow the kicks around and blow the passes around and everything. I mean, I'm talking, I would just create chaos. It's just, I'd like tape stuff to the side of the football to make it like, flutter, like the passes like look really stupid and goofy. And I'd just be doing all kinds of weird things to just make it as miserable as possible for these guys. Yeah. So I would find a way. I would find a way to make it bad. It's not at the very least, okay, it's not Chicago weather, but if you practice at night here in LA, it's at least a little colder. You can do something with that, but again, it's not going to help you much, but at least it's better than being inside a practice facility where the temperature is regulated and safe, and it's probably artificial turf. I just don't understand it. And if they win, then everything I said doesn't matter, I guess, right? But I think it's a bad idea. So okay. So I'm going to pull up something for you guys. Israel thinks that I should bring this up, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go to, this is full disclosure. It will contradict something that I've said on this show for a while. It will contradict something that I've spoken, and this is due to not remembering exactly perfectly how this really was. So I have always preached to you guys that back in the early dynasty and into the mid 2000s, that the Brady hate wasn't so bad. And a lot of the things that we hear about Brady and the Patriots and all the stuff that we now know, all things, the stupid crap that they use, wasn't as bad as back then, and that I kind of blamed it on social media and all that. Well, apparently I misremembered, because here is a post that I wrote in 2008. And if you hear what I say, it clearly was the topic of discussion and had been for years. So apparently Brady hate is way older than I thought it was. And I'm bringing this up because as long as this channel has existed, I've told you guys that there was a difference between back then and now. That is just not right. That's not correct. And I cannot argue with 2008 Von Allen. This is me writing this in 2008, in December of 2008. Okay. Now, this is a post I made on MySpace regarding Matt Castle. This was a real thing. I'm just going to read you the post, and then we can talk about it. I would like to address the rumor that there is talk to trade Tom Brady. Okay. Before I start, I'm just going to remind you guys. This was the December of 2008. Matt Castle is leading the Patriots, and people were talking about trading Brady and keeping Castle. This was a serious thing back then. I would like to address the rumor that there is talk to trade Tom Brady. Okay. Now I know the Patriots and Coach Belichick have been great at filling in holes when starters go down. But this just happens to be only as long as Tom Brady was quarterback. The very first position filled for Belichick's Patriots in this manner started this reputation with Tom Brady replacing an injured Drew Bledsoe. Has the Patriots' arrogance gone so far to think that they could get rid of the greatest quarterback to ever play, and while he is in his prime? Yes, folks, his greater football days are still ahead of him. It's a scary thought, isn't it? So it seems. Now, this is only a rumor on the Pats message boards and on the NFL Network, but where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And then this did become worse and worse as that month of December went on. In a year where the Giants beat the Pats in the Super Bowl, a year when OJ finally goes to prison, and a year where America gets a black president, I hope trading Tom Brady isn't a part of these first. But here's where I stand. If you trade him, I will follow Tom Brady wherever he may go. I hate it when a great team in their arrogance thinks that they can throw away legends of the games like they're trading Barbie dolls. Matt Castle truly sucks. He's the guy. He's the guy who would be to take Tom's place. It's bad grammar here. I was young. He's the guy who would be to take Tom's place. And yes, everyone hyped up about the fact that Castle did something Tom never could. He threw for 400 yards in back-to-back games. The problem is that in one of those games, the Pats got their butts handed to them by a better Jets team that was prepared. So, Mr. Castle, your record is void if you don't win. It becomes irrelevant. Oh yeah, if you think you're so great, you should try doing something only Tom Brady could do in the history of the NFL, and that's go 16-0 in the regular season. Okay, Matt, I'll eat my words and agree. You should legitimately have a shot at replacing Brady. Win Castle once you can achieve the following. Win 3 of 4 Super Bowls while being the significant game changer in each one. Win 2 Super Bowl MVPs and 1 league MVP. Lead your team to an undefeated season 16-0. Hold the record for most attempts without an interception in the Super Bowl with 48 attempts. I love how these records are so small now, like in hindsight. But at the time, this was big stuff, you know? Hold the ridiculously difficult record of the most touchdown passes in a season with 50. Create at least 20 second-half comebacks in your career. Hold the record for most consecutive wins in the playoffs with 10. And doing all this while holding so many other records that can't even be listed. Sounds impossible? Yes, it does. Sounds like I'm asking too much of you. Sounds like only a football immortal could do this. Of course, but he's no immortal. He's just a man. That man is number 12, Tom Brady. If the Pats trade Tom away, it will be a new version of the Babe Ruth curse. Another Boston team will suffer one of the most boneheaded and stupidest trades in sports history. The Patriots will never recover and go on for the next 30 years, never enjoying a Super Bowl appearance ever again. This will be called, of course, the Golden Boy curse. Now, of course, you're probably saying, well, Tom has never won anything without Coach Belichick. Well, that's true. But Coach Belichick has never won jack squat without Tom Brady. And judging by the Patriots' putrid performance this season, it seems the Patriots need Tom more than Tom needs the Patriots. And remember the slogan of Bill Belichick, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Thank you. Okay. So I was very angry at the time. Okay. I remember writing this. I remember being very upset. But there are some things in there that surprised me reading it. So one is that I referred to Tom as the GOAT. Did you guys notice that? So I told you at the beginning, I contradicted myself in some ways, right? I have always told you guys that I believed Joe Montana was the GOAT up until Tom got, fourth and then fifth. Here's the thing about that, and here's how I can explain this. That's true. I think what's happening here is that in this post, I was very upset, and writing that Tom is the GOAT emphasized my point. Now, this was written on MySpace, and I was also part of many Patriots message boards, and Patriots fans were saying to trade Tom Brady. Okay, so they were wanting this. So I was very mad, but I referred to Tom as the GOAT. But I know for a fact that I did not believe that, because I've got on video of me saying this after that. And other things I posted and stuff where I would talk about what Tom needs to do and all that. And that didn't really become much of a discussion until a few years later, I think. But when he finally went back to the Super Bowl in like 2011, it was like, okay, now we got to win in order to, tie Joe Montana. So it does sound like a contradiction there, right? But I think in this case, I think that I was just saying that for emphasis, because I know my memory is not that bad. I truly never believed that Tom was the GOAT in 2008. That's just not true. I've held on to that belief that Montana, and again, I can prove that belief continued after that. But that is interesting hearing it and seeing it. So that's wild. Okay. Another thing that I found interesting that I didn't realize was an issue back then, but apparently it was, that Belichick, everybody thought it was all Bill and not Tom. Now, I knew that had some, people were saying that sometimes, but I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was that bad back then enough for me to rant about it in a post, right? Apparently it was bad enough because I included it. I even took a shot at Bill by saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Of course, I thought Spygate was retarded. The only problem I had with Spygate was that I thought Bill was dumb. I was mad at him for even putting us, exposing us to such bullshit, because Roger Goodell made it a rule not to do that in 2007. Okay? And you started the season doing it again. And not only that, you did it against a guy who knows that you do it. How dumb is that? I mean, Belichick's got to be the dumbest person ever to do that. Why would you do that? It's not like 06 where it's just a memo, a suggestion. And it's not like 05 and before where it was completely legal. This is 07. 07, the rules were changed. It said you can't do that anymore. Belichick did it anyway, with a coach on the other side who did that with you just prior to that. How dumb is that? So that's what I was mad about. But as far as the seriousness of it, I thought it was a joke. Okay? But so there's this whole Belichick versus Brady thing dynamic that was going on even back then at that level. That shows you how long this has been happening. I even took a shot at Matt Castle. I said he sucked. He wasn't that bad. And we played okay. We just couldn't beat the right teams that we needed to get to the playoffs. See, it's not just about winning a certain amount of games. You got to win the right games. You got to win the right games so you don't lose tiebreakers. And we lost the tiebreaker 11. We were 11-5, and we lost that to the Dolphins. So you got to beat the right teams. And we weren't being able to. We were beating teams that people were expecting us to do okay against, but we were not beating the teams that we needed to get to the playoffs. And this is early December, so I don't know what our record might have been at the time. I'd have to go back and look, but it's obvious that I was very angry about it. And the idea that I was going to have to watch Matt Castle play quarterback for the rest of another 10 years and watch Tom go to some other team, that, it took me forever to get used to Tom Brady being the quarterback and not Drew Bledsoe. Okay. I don't bail on people that easily. And I don't crown people that fast. Okay. I do not. That people are way too quick to go out and buy dudes' jerseys and say that they are this and they are that and all this crap. You got to prove it, dude. I never bought into Tom Brady until the end of Super Bowl 36. Up until that point, I was still team Drew Bledsoe. Why was I? Because Drew was everything. Drew is the only reason why that team mattered. Drew is the only reason why the Patriots aren't the laughingstock of the NFL like they were in the early 90s and the late 80s. They were a joke. They were an embarrassment. I watched Drew play in a Super Bowl already. I knew he could get us to another one. I had no doubts, no reason to think that he is not the best quarterback on the team. Why would I all of a sudden want to turn over the team to a guy that we didn't even know was on the team until he started playing? It's just, it took something for me to so all this Matt Castle crap that was going on, I just didn't understand it. I'm just like, wait a minute. What has he ever done? What has he ever done? He's just filling in a role. By the way, he's on a team that was 16-0 last year. Okay. I hope a NFL quarterback, if you're in the NFL, that means you're good. It means you at least know what you're doing. I certainly hope that if you're getting paid, that you can at least win some games with Randy Moss, okay, and Belichick as your coach. I'm really hoping that you could probably put a few games together on a team that went 16-0, right? So let's not forget, you went 11-5, okay? That's a 7-game drop. They were 18-1 before. That's a 7-game drop. That is massive. That is a huge difference. So don't tell me that you're going to trade Tom Brady. Okay? It's ridiculous. And by the way, in the Super Bowl, it was Tom Brady who left the field with the lead. All right? Let's not. Yeah, they didn't put up enough points, and that's their fault. And I agree. I don't. But let's not pretend that was just on Tom. It was just on the offense. Defense didn't have to give up to derp. Okay, a touchdown drive to derp. Okay, so but it was the end of Super Bowl 36 when Tom went down that drive and John Madden said what he said, and that's when it clicked. I was like, I get it now. I get it. Drew would have been throwing that ball down the field, and he might have threw a pick. Tom took the sure things and got us in field goal range, and it made sense. In my defense, I was 20 years old, or 21. I just turned 21. I didn't know near as much as I do now about quarterbacking and stuff like that. So It wouldn't have taken me that long now to see it. I would have seen those issues with Drew and the great things about Tom. I would have saw that probably at the other Rams game during the regular season. Probably would have recognized it by that point. But back then, I didn't see it. So, but that's why I'm not ready to crown Drake May. Here's what I'll say about Drake May. I think we've got a franchise quarterback now. I think he's going to do great things in this league. But that's it. That's as far as I'm willing to go right now. Okay? This dude goes off, gets us to the Super Bowl. I'll step it up. Okay? But for right now, I like where we're at. But I'm certainly not going to, bring out the Gatorade and throw it on him just because we're having a good year. Okay? Let's chill on that. Let's wait. So, again, because when I compliment you and I start raving about you, it means something. If I start doing that immediately just because of hype and everything, then that doesn't mean anything. And then your criticisms don't mean anything anyway, because you sound like a hater and it doesn't sound like legitimate criticism. So, yeah, like Bill Parcells said, put the anointing oil away. I remember they were trying to do that for Tony Romo. Again, another Drew Bledsoe situation. I was so pissed when they took out Bledsoe and put in Romo, and this arrogant prick. I hated Romo so much. I hated this guy. I went into Dallas Cowboy message boards, like on AOL or something like that, and I got into so many arguments with these guys. And it was just unbelievable. I was in there defending Drew, even though he was playing like garbage. But I was defending my guy, right? I remember we went to I had season tickets for the Cardinals, and we went to a Cardinals game that year, and it was against the Cowboys. I can't remember if it was a regular season game or a preseason game. I think it was a regular season game. That's irrelevant. The point is, they were playing the Cowboys. And we saw the Cowboys, they were warming up right in front of us. And I looked at my brother, and he looks back and he goes, they seriously replaced Drew Bledsoe with Tony Romo? And here's why he said that. We were watching him warm up, okay? You saw Drew take the snap, back up, throw the ball. Dude's like 6'6", right? Stood there, threw the ball perfectly. He just looked like a quarterback, okay? He looks like a quarterback that you would cast in a movie. And then you watch Tony Romo take the snap. And you got this funny-looking, squatty dude, this goofy-looking guy, take the snap. And it's just like, what are we living in, bizarro world? It's just weird. It's just weird, And, oh God, I hated Tony Romo. Absolutely hated him. Couldn't stand him. When he fumbled the snap against the Seahawks, that was one of the greatest things I ever. That was probably one of my best experiences in hate watching someone. And it was all because of my loyalty to Drew Bledsoe. It was all because of that. I never gave Romo a chance, ever. And then when after that year, so Drew Bledsoe, he eventually retired, I think, after that. But in 2007, we run into the Cowboys and Romo, and then Romo, after the Cowboys lose to us, Romo goes to the center field and says to Tom Brady, "We'll see you again in February." I was like, wow, that's a pretty big statement. I was like, okay, he really thinks a lot of himself. To be fair, that Cowboys team was very good. They were very good in 2007. But I've never liked him. I've always been a Romo hater. Romo is one of those rare moments when Dak took over, I was happy. I'm normally not like that. I'm normally not a guy who roots for the legend, or not. Well, not the legend, but the guy who's been around. And then some young rookie punk comes in and takes over a job. I'm iffy on those things. But this is one time where I was rooting for Dak, and I was on Team Dak on that one. So it's just, I just didn't like him. And then when he became a commentator, I just wanted to punch him in the face. So his love for Mahomes was so unreal. It was unreal. It really was. Phil Williamson said he was at Tony Romo's first game. That means you were at a Monday night game against the Giants. Isn't that correct? Because that was the game where Drew Bledsoe got benched at halftime. Parcells came back out and said that he had made a switch. I remember that very well. Oh, so something funny happened the other night. So John Thomas Chavez posted, he said he could think of the only time it snowed in Phoenix. He was living in Phoenix when he was a kid, and it snowed. And he brought up it was championship game Sunday. It was the Colts, Patriots, and Bears, Saints. And, no, I'm sorry. It was the Super Bowl. It was the Super Bowl. And I posted a picture, and I said, "You mean this Super Bowl?" I was in Phoenix that year, and I remember it snowing. And I was wearing a Peyton Manning jersey. And they're like, "Why are you wearing that?" Here, actually, why am I telling you about it? I'll just show you. This is funny. You can guys use this against me later at some point. Where the hell is it? Damn, there's a lot of talk in this thing. All right. There we go. Okay, so there's me. Clearly not very happy. So why am I wearing a Peyton Manning jersey? You guys remember these old TVs? If you wanted a big screen TV, if you wanted a high definition TV back then, this is how big it was. Yes, I had 2 small chairs for my cats. They like to watch football. I'm kind of a weirdo. So, but why am I watching or why am I wearing a Peyton Manning jersey? So here's why. I lost a bet. I lost a bet to my sister. My sister is a massive Colts fan. Love Peyton Manning. And in the AFC Championship game, of course, the one that we went up 21-3. Okay, so at 21-3, I call and say, "What the? Ah." She said, "We're going to win." I said, "What?" I said, "Did you not just see Asante Samuel pick off Peyton? It's over. It's finished. We're going to win." "Oh, really? What makes you think we're going to?" A lot of big talk, right? She said, "We're going to win. We're going to come back." Then bet me. The bet was during the Super Bowl, if I lost, I had to go buy a Peyton Manning jersey and wear it and root for them. Well, we all know what happened there. That game ended on a Tom Brady interception. Needless to say, I had to go and buy a stupid Peyton Manning jersey. I don't even remember where I bought it. It was this sports memorabilia store in downtown Phoenix. And it was humiliating. And that was a picture of me wearing that stupid thing. But a bet's a bet. A bet is a bet. And if you bet on a bet and you lose the bet. That Super Bowl sucked, by the way. I got so bored. That's what created this photo. So I got bored watching this game. And I decided to put my black bear hamster up on the cabinet with my other 2 cats at the time. That's Vince and Martina. The hamster's name is Elizabeth. And of course, none of them are still alive. But I ended up snapping this photo during that game. That's how bored I was. So but anyway, there's your little bit of history. Okay, so I'm clearly going Bears over Rams. Okay, so yeah, all that to get to that. All right, there we go. Next, so what order? Let's see what order the games are going to be in. Okay, I probably did this in the wrong order, I think. It's Bills Broncos first. I should have started with Bills Broncos. Rams and Bears are not even until the Rams Bears are the last game, actually. So I did it backwards. So let's correct this. Let's start back now on the Bills Broncos. So Denver, we were talking about road advantage, right? Home advantage, and the road team is in trouble sometimes with if there's extremes, right? Buffalo, the cold is not going to matter, obviously. That Buffalo is Buffalo, and Buffalo, they better not get a dome. That would be dumb. I mean, that's their thing too. You know, there's like certain teams you just don't put inside a dome. You don't put the Packers in a dome. You don't put the Bears in a dome. You're not supposed to put the Chiefs in the dome. I cannot believe that they're doing that. But you get the point. But Denver always has that advantage about being a mile high in the air, right? It does matter. Okay, so flown into Denver a few times on a layover, and there is a noticeable issue when you're sitting in the airport. You do feel different. It's weird. And it's a bit odd. So that is a real thing, okay? And then trying to run around and play a game like that. I don't know if Buffalo is what they're doing to prepare for that. I haven't looked up on it. Their coach is Sean McDermott, so he's a complete retard, so who knows what he's come up with. But I do not trust the Denver offense. I've been saying this all year. They can prove me wrong, that's fine. But I have zero trust in them. Their defense. Let me tell you something. This is the perfect game where Sean Payton screws it up. He's a good coach. But he's had those moments back when he was the Saints coach. Those big, high leverage moments where he just screws it up. Okay? It's one of the reasons why they never could get back to the Super Bowl. This game has that written all over it. This reeks of the 2020 divisional game. Okay? This reeks of some of the old Bears-Saints games. This has that vibe. This reeks of the Vikings game. Just bad decisions after bad decisions. The Rams game. Okay? I've seen it so many times. And this, to me, has it. Josh Allen is going to be that dude tomorrow. Okay? Josh Allen is going to finally confirm what I've been saying all year, that Denver is not that team. They have overachieved, but I don't think their quarterback is very good. And I think that's a liability. And when you've got two quarterbacks, you can talk about the defense all you want, but when you've got such a lopsided lopsided quarterbacks there, it's just Denver's defense isn't so good that they can average that out, and Buffalo Bills defense isn't so bad that they can't balance it out. So normally in a situation like this, if the defense is great but they have a bad quarterback, well, the defense is legendary. That's normally the case. So you can win if you have Trent Dilfer, because your defense is the 2000 Ravens. You can win with a broken down Peyton Manning and a Brock Osweiler because you have the no-fly defense, you know? And that is the difference here. Then you got Seattle, which had a great defense and a good quarterback. So that's not Denver. That's not what we're dealing with Denver. Denver is about to play the best quarterback in the NFL. And he's going to take care of business. So Buffalo. It's Buffalo, 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 all the way Buffalo. Okay. At 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we have the 49ers at the Seahawks. This is, again, another situation where I am not completely sold on Seattle. But I don't think they're as much of pretenders as I think the Denver Broncos are. It's not that bad. I just still don't trust Sam Darnold. This is the guy who saw Ghost. This is the Ghost guy. This is the guy that started with the Jets. I need to see more. I need to see more to trust him. And I think the 49ers are talented enough to get through it, even though they have so many injuries. 49ers are such a weird team that they can just awkwardly put wins together. They can't take it all, but they can put wins together. I know I don't think I think Kittle's out. Yeah, he's out he probably won't even play half of next year. But this is the hardest one to pick. Okay. But I am going to go San Francisco. It's going to be a close game, very close game. And it's going to come down to the very end on this one. But I am going the 49ers, but be very careful if you're betting on this. So, because this one is the hardest one of all of them. And of course, Texas Patriots is the last one that we've talked about. So I think not only are we going to win, I think we're going to win big. So I think it's that simple. We're going to see Bills in an AFC Championship game. That's going to be wild, huh? That's going to be freaking wild. Drake May versus Josh Allen. And on the other side, we're going to have the Bears and 49ers. How weird. That's odd to hear that. But that's what I think is happening. I think that's what's going to happen. These are not easy picks. I know this is going against what people are saying should happen. People think that the Denver should win, I think. And people think that the Rams are the best team in the NFL for some reason. People think the Patriots are garbage and they're just a product of the schedule. And they think all of a sudden Houston is this great team. And 49ers, to be fair with the 49ers, their injuries are just insanely bad. But they just have been playing with injuries for the last 7 years, and they still win playoff games. It's just something's there. They're good enough to do that. They're just not good enough to take it all the way. And but I think they win a close one. So those are my picks. What do you guys think? Agree, disagree, halfway agree, halfway disagree? Let me know in the comment section. Wow. So I went way longer than I thought I would tonight. I thought we'd just do like an hour, but kind of enjoyed talking with you guys. About how many points do I think these teams will win by? Well, I think the Patriots are going to win convincingly. So I think the Patriots will end up winning by 14. No, 13. They'll win at least by 13 or more. In the playoffs, that's big. So that's as far in the NFL and in the playoffs, to me that's a convincing win. That's big. The Buffalo game, I think that is going to be a situation where it's going to be close, but then in the third quarter, Buffalo will pull away and it just will never go back. They'll never get back. I think Buffalo probably wins by 10. The Chicago and the Rams, I think that's actually going to be a pretty close game. So I'd pick Chicago. Chicago win by 4. They will have a difference of a touchdown, and Rams will need a touchdown, and they won't be able to get into the end zone. San Francisco and Seattle. Again, this one's so hard. I can easily see it going Seattle's way. That's just what's painful about this one. This one's difficult. But if San Francisco does win, they're going to win big. So I'd say San Francisco just puts up points and points and points. Christian McCaffrey turns into a freaking Terminator and just goes off, and it shocks everyone. Okay? This is just from what I've seen with Seattle. I don't care about I don't care about what the numbers say. Every game is different. Every team is different. What they did against a different team doesn't matter now. What matters is who you're facing and what that person's capable of doing. And that's why I say what I say. But San Francisco will win. I'm going San Francisco will win by 10 as well. So, Phil asked me a question. What are your thoughts on the 49ers electrical substation theory that went viral? So, okay. Honestly, I think it's kind of goofy. I'm not an expert in electric crap, magnetic fields and electric, and how it affects the human body. And I noticed that all of a sudden we've got scientists everywhere on X, people who can't even spell their own name, all of a sudden are experts at this stuff. It's kind of like after Deflategate, everyone was suddenly a physical science teacher. It was quite humorous, The only problem with this theory is that the 49ers have been practicing in that area next to the thing for decades, for like a long time. So they didn't always have these problems. The most logical answer is this. Okay? You have to pinpoint when something starts. It's like the autism thing. How would you find out what causes autism? Well, what you would do is that you would look at when autism rate spiked. Okay, you go look at that. Okay, look at this spike. Autism was this way, and maybe you could even argue it was underdiagnosed. But you have to explain a spike like this. What happened during that? Oh, that's when the vaccines changed, right? So that's when we went from like 4 vaccines to 80-something vaccines. Okay, so that's probably the problem. That you got something there, right? Okay. Well, we don't have anything like that for the electrical substation because they've always been there since the 80s, I think. So what if it was this? When did the injury bug for the 49ers start? 2018, right? Something like that. 2017, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, right? Well, what event occurred during that time? Does anyone know? There's something about the 49ers that happened then. So it was, anybody? Bueller. No. They got a coach. Kyle Shanahan. The injuries are the same amount of time as the coach. So what if instead of some weird conspiracy theory about electrical current, deteriorating the cells that relate to some kind of, the tendons and blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what they were saying, something like that. What if it was a coach who brought in a staff who hires everyone, who hires the quality control, hires the training staff, hires the medical staff, all those people. And what if his people suck? What if they suck? What if that's the problem? It's possible. I mean, why not, right? So I think that if I was investigating this for real, I think I would go there before I'd go to the electrical thing. Not saying electrical thing's not true. Maybe it is, and maybe there's something I'm missing and I don't know, okay? But it sounds weird to me. It just doesn't sound like that's something that matters. What's more believable is the staff. These are the people that work on the players every day. They're constantly tending to them. If you're bad at your job, you may miss injuries. You may miss minor things, tells that are going to say they're going to get injured. So, for example, if you're a medical professional that works for the 49ers, week 7, George Kittle tweaks something on his leg. And then you approve him for week 8. Well, maybe a better doctor would have said, okay, we better make him sit for 2 weeks, because if we don't, he's going to pop this and it's going to be worse, or he's going to tear it. So we need him for the playoffs. But a lesser doctor may not see that and understand it, even though he can play on it. This could get worse. This could be a problem. Missing something like that is the difference between George Kittle playing this Sunday or tomorrow, or being out until mid next year. That right there. That's 100% staff and not George Kittle, not electrical substation or whatever it is. Okay? Now, you can apply this mentality to everything, all kinds of injuries. Approving guys when they're not ready, approving guys for or not identifying an injury that is something's ruptured and that it's going to turn into that. Could be bad training. So maybe one player doesn't need to be lifting free weights. Maybe he needs to be doing bands or something else, and you have him doing free weights, or vice versa. Or maybe one guy is you're covering up the fact that he's on some kind of HGH or something, and so when you do that, HGH, steroids, all that crap, they always lead to injuries because you overexert yourself, because you overexert what your body can actually naturally handle, and that's where injuries come too. That can be a factor. So you can't let them go out and do that stuff. All these things. Okay? It's also how you use those players in situations. Like, I don't know, when Bill Belichick put Rob Gronkowski out there on an extra point, he breaks his arm. Why did you put him out there? So maybe, just maybe, this is a coaching and the staff problem. So let's look at that first, see if that checks out before we start tearing down electrical stations and stuff. Yes, Phil, that is correct. It's why I know that this can be a problem. I learned a lot from him about how the human body works, about how HGH and steroids can cause injuries, how training regimens can alter that, or why TB12 works and why other certain doesn't work, and why players get injured, doesn't get injured. A lot of it is staff, and it is a lot of decision making and how you do things. I think this is a team problem, and I think it's that simple, honestly. Yes, there's luck involved too, but if you've got an excellent medical staff, you can minimize these injuries. So, wow, I've talked a lot, and I've got a lot of talking to do this weekend, guys, because we're going to be doing the games. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and go. I can hear my voice already changing, so I want to be ready for the weekend. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay? It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. So, Patriots, let's freaking go.
Von Allen Sports. Von Allen Sports. Von Allen Sports.